Facebook and Instagram boss Mark Zuckerberg has been confronted and told you have blood on your hands.
He was one of 5 major tech company CEOs summoned by the US Congress to be named and shamed for harm social media causes children.
And in a remarkable piece of high drama, Zuckerberg was even convinced to apologise. US correspondent Mitch McCann reports.
These are the families who say social media companies failed to keep their children safe. Some died by suicide, others from drugs they sourced online. And as they gathered in Washington, enraged lawmakers demanded accountability on their behalf.
You have blood on your hands. You have a product. You have a product that's killing people.
All morning, US senators tore strips off the chief executives of 5 major tech companies. They argued they had failed to keep children safe and undermined laws that might do so. They said the social media companies had created a worsening mental health crisis among children, as well as sexploitation and the promotion of dangerous drugs on their platforms.
Instagram also displayed the following warning screen to individuals who were searching for child abuse material. And then you gave users 2 choices: get resources or see results anyway. Mr. Zuckerberg, what the hell were you thinking?
The most stunning moment was an exchange between one senator and Meta's chief executive. The lawmaker asked why Mark Zuckerberg had not apologised for harm caused by Instagram and Facebook.
Would you like to do so now? Well, they're here. You're on national television. Would you like now to apologise to the victims who have been harmed by your product? Show them the pictures.
Without a microphone, Zuckerberg told the families, "I'm sorry for everything you have all been through. No one should have to go through the things that your families have suffered. This is why we invested so much." A public apology that wasn't genuine, according to one mother whose daughter died by suicide after a social media addiction.
When he stood up to apologize, he looked right in my eyes, and there's no feeling or emotion.
In the same hearing, though, the billionaire suggested there was no proven link between social media and poor mental health.
Mental health is a complex issue, and the existing body of scientific work has not shown a causal link between using social media and young people having worse mental health outcomes.
Outcomes that are likely to continue, officials say, if the talking doesn't lead to action. While lawmakers in Washington are hopeful of passing new laws to protect children on social media, there is a sense of deja vu here. This was Mark Zuckerberg's 8th appearance on Capitol Hill and the 2nd for TikTok's chief executive.
This is our son, Matthew.
Look at how beautiful Miriam is.
My son Riley died from suicide after being sexually exploited on Facebook.
Senators hope to introduce legislation later this year, finally allowing families to sue these social media companies. In New York, Mitch McCann, Newshub.
Well, meanwhile, back home, Prime Minister Christopher Luxon has also put social media companies on notice.
Luxon says the tech giants must do more to protect children, suggesting clear parental controls to stop online exploitation and harm. Nick Trubridge has a story.
From Senate committee room to Kiwi classroom.
We're distributing the lessons.
Luxon sorry for crashing class today, but unapologetic in his criticism of social media platforms and their efforts to protect children from harm.
We have major challenges here in New Zealand around sexploitation in particular. But what I'd say to you is, look, it's the tech companies are trying to balance, I guess, security and privacy, and obviously they're under different bits of legislation around the world, and they've got to try and work that out. They need to work harder. I think they need to work much harder.
Especially with younger generations increasingly glued to their screens.
I expect those tech companies to be well resourced in the trust and security spaces. I expect them to be able to communicate strongly the tools that are already available that should be deployed, particularly by parents with respect to children.
Work's being done on age verification and limits. There are tools for parents to use now too, but the PM says they aren't exactly user-friendly.
One of the things that I think they could do as quite a practical action is actually communicate much better the parental controls that are available.
This morning's US Senate hearings follow remarks from the country's Surgeon General, who, in attributing the mental health crisis to social media, wrote, "I am concerned that social media is an important driver of that crisis, one that we must urgently address." In New Zealand, social media has long been a bugbear for educators, even those running schools up to just Year 6.
It is there. Even though they age, the children are on social media, and we do sometimes get situations coming into school that actually happened out of school.
So here come the cell phone bans. Browns Bay School has had one for years. Others will soon be forced to follow suit.
Schools should be consulting with their communities if they haven't already done so, and if they have done so, then they'll be able to put their policies in place.
This principal says it's a no-brainer.
We just said, hey look, this is the way it's going to be. And parents were really okay about it.
He calls schools a neutral zone as the war on cell phones and social media ramps up. Nick Trubridge, Newshub.